many ways is doing the same through his own efforts. His name's Chris Ronan. You know him all. He's accomplished too many. Chris.
All right, anybody who just got that on video for the 11 o'clock news, we're going to put it on. Thanks for the commercial on University Circle. But like the previous speaker just said, Rita, this is Cleveland, and if University Circle is anything, it is Cleveland. It's the people of Cleveland. And my association, the Cultural Gardens, which I have the pleasure of being in every day to and from work, and a lot of other reasons to be there. How many of you today, this evening, are somehow associated with the Cleveland Cultural Garden Federation? Hey, here's to you. That's about half of our crowd, and I know the rest of you, how much you appreciate that. Well, so too is Paul Burik, and I never knew that I was going to see more of Paul Burik after City Hall, because we both worked about 500 yards right outside that window at a place that we love, City Hall, Cleveland City Hall. We're both veterans and expats of it, but it's always in us. But the good fortune is I see more of Paul Burik outside of City Hall than I even did back then. It was an honor and a pleasure just briefly to meet his family and the family table. Would you give a wave out there tonight, please, from the family of the Burik family? So I went to the family to dig up dirt, find anything I could know that I didn't know about Paul, but unfortunately, Paul is consistent, both in his family, and unfortunately for us, and in the community. And truly, fortunately, he is consistent. I asked his son and daughter, well, what about Dad? And they said, well, he's out in the community a lot. He gives a lot of his time. He never stops giving to the community. And we know that about you. Your cousin said you never let the grass grow under your feet. You're always on the move. We know that about you. And your wife finally gave me something I didn't know about you. That Paul Burik came here as a young kid to a community, to a country that welcomed him, and he knew very few words in the English language. I also, in good humor, learned that you didn't know what a hot dog was, and you were afraid you'd have one, but you had one anyways, and you became an American. Your Aunt Margaret said that she had the pleasure to spend a lot of time with you as a kid in Lakewood, and took you in. And this is the family here tonight, and your family extended in Cleveland, who honor you, Paul, for the person you are, a consistent giver, a doer, an activist in the Cleveland community in Greater Cleveland. So it's my honor, as someone who served at City Hall, to introduce Paul Burik tonight and to help bring him into the Hall of Fame. I do want to say to Dan and Debbie, thank you for all you do. Your mom's got to be proud of you guys. It's all right here, Cleveland people. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stars come and go. They come and get their award across the mall, and sometimes in New York, and we put them up in the hall and we go pay our respects. But I think of the Hall of Fames, this is the Hall of Fame that really matters in Cleveland. At your 2016 100th anniversary of the Cleveland Cultural Gardens, I get the pleasure to speak. Dr. Curry's here tonight, and those who came before him, and we said that Leo Weidenthal vision to have a garden that would reflect all of Cleveland's people. I'm so glad you brought it up tonight. And it was that Shakespeare garden that was the first garden in the park, and it was William Shakespeare himself who said, what of a city but its people? And I think that is what we're all about. The people of Cleveland are what make this place, and Paul Burik really epitomizes who we are as Clevelanders. He is a connector, he is an educator, and he is an advocate. Anecdotally at City Hall, I know Councilman Brancatelli, and I saw Councilman Simperman earlier, former Councilman Simperman, that we all sort of, unfortunately all too often at the hall, found ourselves in pipelines. The engineers would work in one corner, the planners, where I worked, in another corner, and the designers in another corner. But Paul, as an architect, designer, and somebody who cared, was truly a bridge. He would bridge between floors, he would bridge between departments, and he was a communicator, educator, advocate who cared. He cares about the big picture, and he cares about the small details. And that's what Paul Burik brought to, I guess, his second career at the Cleveland Cultural Garden Federation. Paul was born in the city of Budvar. Yes, the namesake of Budweiser beer. Paul, I made it to Czech Republic this last fall. Actually saw that beer, had that beer, and then didn't make it over to Budvar, but Budvar is everywhere. And what is now Czech Republic, he and his father came over in 1968 after the Soviet invasion. He attended Kent State University, where he received a degree in architecture, and he spent much of his professional career, as I said, at Cleveland City Hall. I remember him on the Landmarks Commission and the Streetscape Committee, again, minding the details and bridging people and finding a way It's not this way or that way, it was the third way that Paul Burik helped us see. Another way to get things done. And we need more of that these days, and Paul, you taught us. He is now very active, as you know, with the Cleveland Cultural Gardens, has been very active as a past president of the umbrella organization that you represent, 30 and growing National Gardens, and currently serves as vice president. He is a chapter president of Svazvedi Aumene. How bad was that? Close, all right, I'll take close. Easier known as SVU. Czechoslovak Society of Arts and Sciences organization dedicated to advancing the understanding of Czech, Slovak, and Russian cultures. I will say on the centennial anniversary that you hosted us in this past 2 summers ago, he was once again a bridge, very mindful of 3 unique cultures connected together. And he embodied that on the day that we spent with you in the park. Thank you for being the bridge across our ethnicities, and in that case, the Czechs, the Slovak, and the Russian. Paul is also a member of Sokol Greater Cleveland, Czech athletic and cultural organization where he serves on the cultural committee. He's a member of the Cleveland Bratislava Sister Cities and Karpatho-Rusin Society. In his hometown, when he has any time left, in the town of Avon, Paul Burik is past president of the French Creek Foundation, an organization which he co-founded 25 years ago to improve and promote the downtown area of Avon. And you're succeeding, by the way, in that I've seen. He also served as chairman of the planning commission there, developing the town's master plan and zoning regulations. So I guess the operative tonight, on top of your dad, your husband, your nephew, your cousin being consistent, he's always giving. Thank you to the family for giving Paul Burik and therefore his time to us in this community, to the family of the Buriks, to you guys. Paul volunteers all throughout his community. Lorraine's sailing, the yacht club teaching sailing. He's a passenger, commodore, vice commodore, and commodore of that club. And with his wife, Fran, and a combined family of 5 adult children, 8 grandchildren, who we've introduced a few of, and cousins, aunts and uncles, they all enjoy Paul's time, and Paul enjoys gardening, cooking, and traveling with them. He is a true public servant, the one who remembers the service side of public service, the one who remembers that we are all, ultimately, as Clevelanders, after similar goals for our community. But he's a bridge builder, he's a connector, he's an educator, and he's an advocate, for what this is all about, Cleveland people and our glorious diversity. Paul Burik, congratulations.
I just studied this guy. It's on. Well, thank you for the award. And what makes it really special to me is that I was introduced by Chris Ronay, a colleague and a friend. And thank you, Chris, for a very eloquent presentation. So thank you for that. And as you think about who to thank, because it's so difficult, there were so many people, some of whom may have done things along the way, pushed you in the right direction or so, and I never knew that they did that. Conversely, there were situations where people made comments or took action that they probably never knew were so meaningful to me. What they were. For example, when I was studying architecture at Kent State University, I had a professor, a Ukrainian fellow called Osip Martin. And the drill in the school was pretty much Monday that our task through the week. We were drawing and making sketches and solving the problem. Friday we would turn in our drawings. Saturday, Professor Martin would come and mark them up and would say, how bad did you bleed over your boards? And then Monday we would review his markups and get his comments. And often we would say, but Mr. Martin, if you would only let us explain, then you would know what we're trying to do, etc. and Mosid, you can call him Mosid now, I guess, and he would say, boys, your drawings are your voice. Let them speak for you. And then would slam the desk with a ruler that he carried around just to make sure we're up and paying attention. And that comment repeated itself a number of times, and it resonated in my head, and it still does. As years added on, went by, I realized it's not just the drawings, but it's all the work that we are doing, or that I was doing, and so it kind of morphed into, Paul, the work is your voice, it shall speak for you. And that was my guiding principle as time went on. So I want to thank everybody who may have touched my path, whether they knew it or not. But there are a lot of people that had their hands in what has happened. Of course, as Chris pointed out, I do need to thank my family. Probably speaking for most of the people on the board, surely for myself, we have done a lot of things, spent a lot of time going to meetings, planning events, going to events, and being brutally honest, our families paid the price. So I do want to point out the immediate family. Fran Burik, my wife, has been by my side. Those of you who know me know Fran, because whether it's event in the gardens or in Avon or wherever, she's involved with it. She proofreads my newsletters, make sure that I don't offend somebody in the process. It used to be that when Fran came along, people would say, who's that lady with Paul? Now we go to an event and they say, who's that guy with Fran Burik? So she has been by my side. And of course, I want to point out my son Ben Burik and my daughter Katie Burik Faust, mom herself. I'm sure there were times where you paid the price a little bit with me being gone, but they turned out all right. In fact, I have talked to some parents, and after talking to parents, they turned out really good. And I'm proud of you guys, and I just hope that now that you are grown adults, that you can be proud of me. With that, I think time is up, and we need to introduce the next person. So thank you again. It's very meaningful.